Hey everyone, this is Charlotte with Creative Outlet Lady, and today we're going to be doing sort of a mixed media painting. For the background, I'm going to be doing a Christmas tree farm, and then on the front, I'm going to use my Cricut and cut out a little truck to put in the front of the painting. And it's going to come together really nice. Check it out. So first things first, I just have a canvas board today, and I decided to paint it black, all black prep, and let that dry completely. And one of the reasons I did that was because I wanted it to be nighttime, but also when I'm putting the white down for my snow ground, it just gives it a little more depth and interest, and that way we don't have to go back and add gray and different hues to the snow. We can see that it's like a little snowy mountainous area. And then the next thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of brown and just a tiny bit of white. And this is for the little wooden poles that are eventually going to hold the Christmas lights being strung all along the Christmas tree farm. And just real simple, just going straight down. We'll add a little snow on top, but that'll come later. Now we're going to go back to the white for a second, but just very light on the brush, just more of like a dry brush. Because I want to do the line where the Christmas tree lights are going to go on, and this isn't going to be a heavy line. It's kind of like down up, but very, very light, as you can see. Now we're going to get started on the Christmas trees with the bright green, and I'm just like basically making an upside down V over and over again. And then once, it gets to a little bit wider area that's not close to the tippy top, then you can kind of just do stroke, 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 and another layer, stroke, stroke, stroke. As you can see, it's, there's not a lot of science to it. There's just kind of going for it and just, making layers of the little strokes. And you just really play around with it. And then sometimes if you, get too fast, the tree gets bigger on one side or this or that, and then you kind of have to just go around back and play with it a little bit. So it's really just a bunch of strokes and layers and getting wider as you go towards the bottom. But as you'll see in a couple seconds, I'll eventually go back and kind of try to fill in some gaps here and there, but I don't want to fill in too much because I do like having the black background. It does, it gives it depth, because if it was on white, I just feel like I would then have to probably go back and maybe add a darker green or maybe a hint of yellow or a little bit of white to kind of just, so you could see all the, what are they, pine needles, not leaves, all the just different layers to the tree. But with the black background, you can kind of really see, the details of the tree, which is very nice. Now this is a fun and easy part. We're adding the lights to the string that is hanging there, and I was gonna just do regular white or yellow lights, but I thought that was kind of boring, so I decided to just do like multicolors. So I'm starting with red, and I'm just, as you can see, using the back of my brush, and you can just do a dot, that would work too, but I kind of wanted to elongate them a little bit like the old-fashioned lights that I grew up with. I started with red, and I just did some random dots through, and then I did blue, yellow, then I'll do orange and green, and just keep rotating them. Okay, so here was the first truck that I cut out, and I really love this minty color, but then once I put it down real quick, I realized it was kind of light and just blending in with the snow, so later you'll see I end up cutting out a red truck, so we'll get to that in a minute. Now I'm starting to add the snow to the trees, and again I'm just doing like a little bit of the white on the very pointy tops of the tree, just doing like a V to start off with, and then just bringing it down really lightly and carefully, because at first I'm like, I'm not sure how much snow I want to add. I didn't want to go overboard because I liked the way that the green looked, so I just did mostly just capping the whole pointy top, and then just doing very light on the second and the third level, and then kind of just like dot dot here and there towards the bottom. But I didn't want to do too much. So, and if feel like you do too much, then you could always just go back over it with green and let it dry again. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot that I just added a little tiny bit of snow on both of the wooden poles. I don't know if you caught that, but just ever so slightly on each top of the poles where the lights are attached. Okay, so this is where I go again to try to use the mint truck, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna go with the red. And so then I have to glue it down. And I also had cut out these little trees. So I'm gonna attach that with glue first. And I'm just using it's a school glue, but it's got a super skinny tip, so a lot doesn't come out at once. Which is really nice. It's kind of almost like a glue pen. So I really like those, so you don't have to overdo it with glue everywhere that won't dry. So I'm gonna glue the tree down first to that, and then I'm gonna just glue it right down to the canvas. Okay, so now, because the truck is all one color, which is fine, you could leave it like that, but I wanted to just go ahead and make the tires black at least. So I just took black paint, and I am using just a small flat brush, so it was kind of perfect just to, just one or two swoops around, and basically the tire was done. So you kind of have to be careful, and really pay attention to what you're doing, because you could kind of go out of bounds, I guess, a little bit. Or you could even, and I thought about this after the fact, draw the top of the tire to kind of help you stay in line. That's always a good idea. Just like I had done with the tree shape, just so I have an idea of where I'm going with the paint. So that's always a good idea. Okay, so now we're going to be using the white for the last time, and I'm using the back of my brush just because I only had one brush on hand for some reason. If I had a detail brush, I would have used that, but I didn't, so I just used the back of the brush, and I'm just doing little highlight marks on the tires and on the front of the curvy part of the truck. And then I believe I'm going to actually use the correct side of the brush and then just tap some white lightly, and then I'm gonna just put a little bit of snow on the side of the Christmas tree, it had been sitting there in the snow. And I'm gonna do also just a little bit eventually on the top of the truck. So yeah, and that'll pretty much finish it off. Just really lightly. It's always best to start light, and then you could always add more. If you go heavy-handed at first, then it's harder to take away. You have to paint over it and kind of start over. So just start light, and that's pretty much it. And I didn't want to do the front of the truck for some reason, but I did the top, and I did back, the bed part. Okay, here it is, the final product. I think it came out super cute. Thank you so much for joining me. See you again soon. Bye.